Hello students. So in this video we will study about stereochemical aspects of SN1 and SN2 reactions. So this stereochemical aspect of SN1 and SN2 reaction, it is asked in the annual examination and it is important with respect to annual examination for 3 or 2 marks. Stereochemical aspects of SN2 reaction first. So in that, in a SN2 reaction, if the nucleophile attacks to the stereocenter, then the inversion configuration across the stereocenter takes place. Now, stereocenter means take an example. 2-bromo octane is heated with aqueous sodium hydroxide. Octane 2-ol is obtained or formed. See the example. So Br is attached to carbon atom. That carbon atom is attached to 4 different groups. So where halogen is attached, that carbon atom is attached to 4 different groups. It is called stereocenter or stereogenic carbon or asymmetric carbon atom. If the halogen atom is attached to asymmetric carbon atom, then that particular molecule we will call it as chiral carbon atom. The particular carbon atom we will call it as chiral carbon atom or stereocarbon atom. If halogen is attached that carbon atom, such example we have to take and we have to explain the mechanism. So that is nothing but what stereochemical aspects of SN2 reaction. Now see, halogen is attached to asymmetric carbon atom or stereocarbon atom or stereogenic carbon atom or stereocenter. It is nothing but that carbon atom is attached to 4 different groups. Now 2-bromo octane. Now it is reacted with the nucleophile OH minus. You have taken potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide, aqueous potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide. Now nucleophile OH minus will attack from opposite side where halogen is attached. Exactly from opposite side it will attack the carbon atom. Then first it will form a transition state. Bond making and bond breaking takes place simultaneously and is called transition state. So first it forms a transition state. From transition state what happens? It forms the product. It forms the product, means where the halogen was there, exactly opposite side OH is attached now. So this is nothing but we will call it as inversion configuration. If it is attached opposite side, then it is called inversion configuration. Then reason for this one is the nucleophile attacks the stereocenter from the side opposite to the halogen atom. Hence inversion configuration takes place because all the groups will be there. So there is no place to attack from same side because halogen is already present. That's why it will attack from exactly opposite side and it will get attached to opposite side. That's why it is called inversion configuration. Then stereochemical aspect of SN1 reaction. Again stereochemical aspect means you have to take asymmetric carbon containing alkyl halide or haloalkane. You have to take an example and you have to write the reaction. So again I will take an example of 2-bromobutane on heating with aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide gives racemic mixture containing 50% butane 2-ol and 15% butane 1-butanol 1-butane 2-ol. Sorry, L it is Leo rotatory butane 2-ol. Now see again. So 2-bromobutane, again halogen is attached to stereocenter or stereocarbon atom or asymmetric carbon atom. So the carbon atom which is attached to 4 different groups again. So that example we have taken and writing the reaction. If you take the asymmetric carbon atom containing example of alkyl halide and if you write the reaction, then it is called stereochemical aspect of SN1 reaction or SN2 reaction. So in this case what happens? The 2-bromobutane is there. Here also halogen is attached to asymmetric carbon atom or stereocenter or stereogenic carbon atom. Now you are treating with sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. Again in this case also OH minus is a nucleophile. Now it will actually attack to carbon atom. But in the first case what happens? 2-bromobutane, there is no place to attack from back side also, from same side also. Okay, from opposite side also, from same side also, there is no place to attack nucleophile. That's why, so SN1 mechanism, in SN1 mechanism, the first step undergoes, due to polar solvent, it undergoes what? Ionization. And it forms carbocation. According to SN1 reaction, first step always it undergo ionization. And it forms a carbocation and halogen ion. Okay, so same way the slow step reaction, rate determining step, the formation of carbocation takes place in the step 1. In the second step, the carbocation which is attacked by the nucleophile. Now there is a place same side also, opposite side also. Nucleophile can get attack from same side as well as from back side also. So you will get the product, both product you will get. If nucleophile attack to right side, then it is a retention configuration. It is a L isomer. If it has attacks to opposite side, then it is called D isomer, dextrorotatory and levorotatory. Dextrorotatory and levorotatory. One is retention configuration. L isomer is a retention configuration and D isomer is a inversion configuration. So nucleophile is attacked exactly opposite here the halogen is attached. So that is D isomer, that is the inversion configuration. Then if the nucleophile attacks same side where the halogen was there, same place it is attached, means it is called retention configuration. The reason for this is the carbocation has a planar structure and it is a sp2 hybridized. The carbocation has a planar structure and sp2 hybridized. Therefore, the nucleophile can get attack this planar carbocation from both the sides. So, giving equimolar mixture of D and L isomer, that is called racemic mixture. Equimolar concentration of D and L isomer, that is called racemic mixture, means 50% of D isomer, 50% of L isomer. Now, the differences between SN1 and SN2 reactions. Differences between SN1 and SN2 reactions. So, in the first SN1, first point is the rate of the reaction depends on concentration of alkyl halide. So, in SN1 mechanism, so step 1 determines the rate. So, in a step 1 only alkyl halide is there. So, the rate is depends upon only the concentration of alkyl halide. But in SN2 only one step reaction it is, that is only rate determining step. So, there nucleophile is also there and alkyl halide also is there. That's why the rate of the reaction depends upon the concentration of both alkyl halide as well as nucleophile. Then second point, so SN1 reaction it involves two steps. SN1 involves two steps. In first step, ionization, formation of carbocation, and second step, nucleophilic attack. Then in SN2 it is a single step reaction, so there will be formation of transition state. Then third difference, the order of reactivity with respect to SN1 reaction is tertiary alkyl halide is greater than secondary, then primary, then methyl halide. So because tertiary alkyl halide undergoes easily form the carbocation and tertiary carbocation is more stable than secondary than primary. That's why tertiary alkyl halide is more reactive than secondary and primary. But in SN2 reaction, so methyl halide is more reactive than primary, then secondary halides, then tertiary alkyl halides. Because nucleophile will attack from exactly opposite side. That's an inversion configuration. Then next point, in this reaction both retention and inversion configuration is possible. In SN1 reaction, when the carbocation forms in the step 1, in step 2 what happens, nucleophile get attacked from same side also, from opposite side also. If same side it attacks, then it is called retention configuration. If opposite side, then it is called inversion configuration. But in SN2 only Walden inversion is possible. Walden inversion is nothing but inversion configuration. The nucleophile will attack exactly opposite to where the Br was there. Then SN1 follows first order kinetics, SN2 follows second order kinetics. Then rearrangement is possible in SN1 reaction, rearrangement is not possible in SN2 reaction. Then last difference is it occurs in presence of weak nucleophiles, but in SN2 it requires strong nucleophiles. It requires strong nucleophiles. So one more you can include SN1 reaction. So step 1 reaction takes place in presence of polar solvents. Okay, in SN2 polar solvents not necessary. So polar solvents favors the reaction in SN1. So polar solvents non favors the reaction in SN2. One more difference you can include. Next one, that is beta elimination reactions. Beta elimination reactions, that is nothing but dehydrohalogenation. Beta elimination reactions, that is nothing but dehydrohalogenation. So beta elimination reactions or dehydrohalogenation means in an alkyl halide, if it is having a beta carbon atom and that carbon atom is having a hydrogens, then beta hydrogen and alpha halogen will be eliminated. So D removal of hydrogen as well as halogen, that is called dehydrohalogenation, removal of hydrogen and halogen. So alkyl halides undergo beta elimination reaction when they are heated with alcoholic potash, that is nothing but alcoholic potassium hydroxide. In an elimination reactions, the electronegative halogen atom is removed along a hydrogen from beta carbon atom to form an alkene. This reaction is known as beta elimination reaction or dehydrohalogenation reaction. So dehydrohalogenation reaction, it is important. Which reagent is used? 1 mark they will ask the question. Which reagent is used in the dehydrohalogenation? That is alcoholic potassium hydroxide. Alcoholic potassium hydroxide. What do you mean by dehydrohalogenation? When the alkyl halides are having beta carbon atoms, if beta carbon atoms are having a hydrogen, so hydrogen will be eliminated from beta carbon atom, and from alpha carbon atom the halogen will be eliminated. So elimination of hydrogen and halogen from alkyl halides is called dehydrohalogenation, and the products are obtained are alkenes. Now take an example here. Take an example. So beta carbon containing alkyl halide I have taken the example. Just I have mentioned hydrogen and halogen. So remaining hydrogens are there. Let us consider. So CH3, CH2X you consider. So I have written one hydrogen there. So beta. So where halogen is attached, that is called alpha, and the next carbon is called beta. Now see, beta carbon atom is having a hydrogen. Now what happens? With reference to alcoholic potassium hydroxide, what happens? The hydrogen will be eliminated, and that bond will make carbon-carbon double bond, and halogen is also eliminated. Hydrogen and halogen are removed here. Hydrogen and halogen are removed here. Then there will be formation of alkene. This reaction is alcoholic condition. Alcoholic potassium hydroxide will do the dehydrohalogenation. So alkyl halide, if it is having a beta carbon atom with hydrogens, that will undergo elimination reaction in presence of alcoholic potassium hydroxide, and it forms alkene. Now see example. Chloroethane or ethyl chloride. So where the halogen is attached, that carbon is alpha and next carbon is beta. Now as already I told, so from beta carbon atom hydrogen will be eliminated, and from alpha carbon atom halogen will be eliminated. Then there will be formation of alkene, that is nothing but ethene. So the reaction takes place, dehydrohalogenation takes place, that is with alcoholic potassium hydroxide. Next example. Take an example now. That is a 2-bromopentane. Now this molecule is having 2 beta carbon atoms. So left side is also where halogen is attached, that carbon atom we will call it as alpha, and next carbon is beta. So here there are 2 beta carbon atoms are there. Left side there is a CH2, that is a beta carbon atom. Right side there is a CH3, that is also beta carbon atom. Now when it is reacted with alcoholic potassium hydroxide, what happens? From which beta carbon atom the hydrogen will be eliminated? So you will, let us consider, you write both the products first. So once you eliminate hydrogen from left side carbon atom, once you eliminate from right side carbon atom, that is a beta carbon atom, eliminate the hydrogen, and from alpha halogen you eliminate. So if you eliminate from left side beta carbon atom, then you will get the product pent-2-ene. If you eliminate from right side beta carbon atom, if you eliminate the hydrogen from right side beta carbon atom, then you will get the product pent-1-ene. So the byproducts are potassium bromide and water, because OH will remove the hydrogen, that will come out as a water. Then halogen will come out with the potassium. So here pent-1-ene is also product. So it is a minor product. So here they have mentioned major product and minor product. Why pent-2-ene is a major product? That is 81%. Why pent-2-ene is a major product? That is 81%. Because Zaitsev or Zaitsev rule. Because of Zaitsev or Zaitsev rule. So according to this rule, it states that during dehydrohalogenation reaction, if more than one type of beta carbon atoms are present, then hydrogen atom is mostly removed from beta carbon atom containing least number of hydrogen atoms. So according to Zaitsev's rule, what it says, during dehydrohalogenation, if it contains more than one beta carbon atoms, the hydrogen will be eliminated from less hydrogen containing carbon atom. Now see in this example, 2-bromopentane. So left side CH2 is there, 2 hydrogens are there. Right side beta carbon atom, there is a CH3, 3 hydrogens are there. So if you eliminate the hydrogen from left side, because less hydrogen containing carbon atom it is, so you have to eliminate from less hydrogen containing carbon atom. So if you eliminate the hydrogen from left side beta carbon atom, then the product obtained is pent-2-ene. That's why it is a major product. So according to Zetsev's rule or Zetsev rule, so hydrogen will be eliminated from less hydrogen containing beta carbon atom if it contains more than one beta carbon atom. That is Zetsev's or Zetsev's rule. Then next one, reaction with metals, that is preparation of Grignard reagent. Some reactions of metals also we will study, and preparation of Grignard reagent also study. In that first one I will move with reaction with metals, that is the formation of Grignard reagent. In this case, organohalogen compounds or organometallic compounds, reacts with a certain metals and forms organometallic compounds. So organohalogen compounds, not organometallic compounds. Organohalogen compounds means alkyl halides reacts with the metals and they will form alkyl metal halides. So that is nothing but what? Organometallic halides. So I will take an example. So alkyl halides reacts with the magnesium in the presence of dry ether to form alkyl magnesium halides and are called Grignard reagent. 1 mark important. It is a preparation. It is a 1 mark important. Preparation is important for 1 mark. So alkyl halide reacts with the magnesium in the presence of ether. It forms alkyl magnesium halide, RMGX, alkyl magnesium halide. It is called Grignard reagent. You can take here RX, alkyl halide. It is reacted with the magnesium in presence of dry ether. It gives RMGX. It is called Grignard reagent. So ethyl bromide is there. It is alkyl halide. Ethyl bromide or bromoethane. It is reacted with the magnesium in presence of dry ether. It gives ethyl magnesium bromide. It is nothing but preparation of Grignard reagent, important for 1 or 2 marks. See, when Grignard reagent, alkyl magnesium halide is reacted with aldehydes or ketones. It will give alcohols, aldehydes or ketones. So carbon magnesium bond is a covalent in this case in Grignard reagent, and magnesium and halogen bond is ionic in nature. So in Grignard reagent, carbon magnesium bond is a covalent and magnesium halogen is ionic in nature. So it is highly reactive and react with any source of proton to give hydrocarbons. So Grignard reagent, if it reacts with the protons, so to gives hydrocarbons. Easily it will give hydrocarbons. Take an example. So Grignard reagent RMGX. Now proton means I will take a water. If it reacts with the water, it gives hydrocarbons easily when it is reacted with the water. So or any proton source, it will give hydrocarbons. Next one, Wood's reaction. Important. It is also repeatedly asked question. In Wood's reaction, haloalkanes reacts with the sodium metal in the presence of dry ether to form higher alkanes. This reaction is called Wood's reaction. So haloalkanes reacts with the sodium metal here. So in the presence of dry ether, it forms higher alkanes. Now take an example. Alkyl halide. 2 moles of alkyl halide reacts with the sodium metal in presence of ether. It gives higher alkane. So you are removing 2 NaX as a byproduct, and 2 alkyl groups, whichever they are present, you have taken. Both alkyl groups are joined and they will make a higher alkane.